Hello, I'm live. How are you? Happy Sunday. So I'm just popping up, as I always do every day so far, to actually share something with you. So this morning I did my quiet time, as I'm doing. It's 14 days now since I have been doing my quiet time, which is an achievement for me. So that's 2 weeks. And while I was doing it, I heard the Lord point something in my direction, my attention. Anyway, and basically, there is in my front garden. There's this big, massive tree. Like I think it's an oak tree. I'm not sure, but it's big and it's massive, and it has obviously been there since the beginning of time. And whilst I noticed the tree, like I've known it's there, but I've not really noticed it. I've not really looked at it in any way. It's just a tree, it's there. And what God said to me today was like, you look at that tree over there. And I looked at it like, yeah, okay, it's a tree. And he's like, well, what is it doing? And I'm like, well, it's there. And he's like, yeah, he says, actually, the tree is doing exactly what it's meant to do. It's like, but, he says, regardless of whatever season, the tree is always doing what it's meant to do. So when it's summer, it blossoms. When it's winter, the leaves fall off. But it's always doing what it's meant to do. It doesn't change because somebody's suddenly gone, oh, well, I don't like that tree. Or somebody's gone, oh, well, you know what, I'm not feeling it. It doesn't change what it does. Year in, year out, it does exactly what it's meant to do. And he's like, we should aspire to be like trees, like in season, doing the things that we ought to be doing in the season. And although God has given us choice, there is kind of like things in nature which he has pointed in our direction to go like, these are examples of how you should live. And one of the things that I learned was like while I was just like listening to what he was saying and taking it in, is that, the tree itself is like, yeah, if a tree goes naturally, it's just like, it's imperfect. It's, it's not symmetrical in any form or in any manner. And, but this is what God calls good. This is what God calls beautiful. And it's like his expression of beauty is not our expression of beauty, because when we look at something that we go, oh yeah, it's pleasing to the eye, it's because it's symmetrical. It kind of like aligns up in a particular way. Everything is kind of like neat and everything is tidy, and it's just like, but God's idea of beautiful is not the same as what we call beautiful. In fact, beauty is in the imperfect, because none of us are perfect. None of us are. The only one that is perfect is God. So we're all being created, but none of us is perfect. But we are beautiful. So therefore, beauty does lie in the imperfect. In the imperfections is where beauty lies. So why are we looking for perfection? We are all searching for this perfection, which we will never attain. And the only perfection that exists is God. So if you're looking for perfection, then it's in God. Know that it's in God, because that's the only place where perfection can be found. But we can be fooled into thinking that, we can be perfect, or we should aspire to be perfect. Whereas actually, we're already perfect in the sense that we've been created beautiful. So we've been created imperfectly perfect. And the thing is that also often we look at things like, I in my garden, I looked at like some trees have been nicely pruned because the gardener comes and he prunes the trees and he, makes it aesthetically pleasing. But when I look at other trees, they have been pruned by God, and the trees that are pruned by God, which is just like grown through nature, if you really look at them, you'll see how beautiful they are. You'll see the beauty in those trees. So the thing is that the person that created the trees pruned the trees according to what the trees was supposed to do. Whereas we prune the trees because we want to be able to look at them and look at it looking aesthetically pleasing and it looks really good. but actually that's not what a tree's supposed to do. You know, a tree in itself has got its own purpose, and the tree that I looked at has got its own purpose. And, you know, and I just, you know, in a way I just thought to myself, I want to be like a tree. Like, I want to be like a tree. Like, that's not just obedient, but also doing the things that I ought to be doing in the season that I ought to be doing it. And I want to be like a tree to allow myself to be pruned by God and not pruned by others, and not pruned by my thoughts or what I think should be, you know, not pruned by the world or what the world says is good, but pruned by what God says is good, pruned by what God says he's got for him, pruned by the direction that he wants to take me. You know, I just want to be pruned in that way. But in order to be pruned in that way, I have to recognize that I cannot be moved by things that are fleeting, you know, like a tree doesn't stop being a tree because I suddenly go, I don't like you. A tree doesn't stop bringing out flowers because I've says, oh, right, you know, the tree next to you is better looking, you know. A tree doesn't stop doing what it's meant to do. And, you know, and God waters the trees. God prunes the trees. God puts sunlight on the trees. God looks after the trees. And they do according to what God created them to do. And I think sometimes because we've been given free choice, we kind of like think, well, we've been given free choice so we can do whatever we want to, which is true. Essentially, everything we do every action that we take has got a reaction. But then, you know, do we really want to just do anything, or do we want to do what we've been created to do? If we want to do we've been created to do, then we actually really need to know the creator that created us to do the things that we've been created to do. And it all comes back to Jesus again. It's everything points to Jesus. Like, well, what have we been created to do? We've got to ask Jesus, because he's the only one that knows. Like, nobody can tell you what you've been created to do. You know, nobody knows. Only God knows. And so we go back to God and we ask him, and you know, and then we be obedient and we go with the process. Like, you know, a tree doesn't go, oh, I don't feel like bearing fruit in this season, you know. It bears its fruit in the right season. It doesn't say, oh, I don't want to flower in this season, I'm going to flower in another season. It flowers in the right season. So I guess we also need to be like that as well. Like, you know, sometimes we are going to be bare because sometimes the trees are bare. The tree doesn't go try and cover itself when it's the season to be bare. And sometimes we are going to be bare. And it's not about covering ourselves. It's about accepting that that's what the season requires for us to be bare. But then there's going to be another season where we'll be clothed. And that's what the season requires for us. And there's another season which requires us to like actually bring forth lots and lots of fruit, which is our harvest. And and in those seasons, we bring as much fruit as we possibly can. Like, you know, would you be happy with an apple tree that only bore one apple? No, we wouldn't, you know. So when we're in the season, we want to do as much as possible in the season, and we want to be in that season. And we want to, number one, know what season we're in. You know, if everybody's in a season right now, we're not all in the same season. We're all in different seasons. We might be connected together, but we're all in different seasons. And you know, one of the things that I pray is that God will connect me with people that are in the same season as me, so that when we come together in prayer, we're all praying literally for the same thing. And because I know when two or more people are gathered together, God is there with us. You know, two is better than one. That's a prayer that I always have for God. I was like, you know what, God, you've not created me to be on my own. You've created me to be in relationship with others. So, you know, bring forth the others. Bring forth the others. And I feel I've been blessed to have people in my life that are in the same season as me. And so we can, you know, come together and pray together and enjoy together. So yeah, but I think the key thing really is be like a tree. Be like a tree. I cannot look at trees the same, because now when I look at a tree, I look at the beauty in the tree. In fact, a tree that is not pruned, like as in pruned by man, a tree that has been pruned by God is so beautiful. You know, let us stop striving for perfection, the way the world looks at perfection, the way man looks at perfection. But let's look at perfection the way God looks at perfection. And the way God looks at perfection is basically allowing him to prune us, you know, allowing him to prune us in the way in which he knows we need to be pruned, because he's created us to be a certain way. And that's why we're all different. We shouldn't be looking for, like, you know, people that are exactly the same, you know, that look exactly the same. That's why we've been created all different colours. And we've been created with all different skills. We shouldn't be looking to say, oh yeah, this colour is good and that colour is great and that colour is not so great. No, like, we've all been created to be individual, but yet to come together. And yeah, I think we need to just start seeing the beauty in each other, and look at the beauty in our differences and the beauty in our similarities as well. Because yeah, like, you know, trees are similar in many ways, but at the same time, no two trees, will you put them side to side, that will look exactly the same. But that's what we try and do to a tree, isn't it? We try and make them look exactly the same so we can line them all up and look exactly the same. But they were never created to be exactly the same. They were created to be different. They were all created to be unique, and we've been created to be unique. So it's not about trying to look the same. It's about embracing our uniqueness. Yeah, and looking at the uniqueness of somebody else and going, wow, how marvelous is our God that he can create so many people on this world, and each and every single one of us is different. That's awesome. So yeah, that's what I want to talk about today. Yeah, I hope you're having a good Sunday. I'm just waiting for my dinner to get ready. I've put it in the oven. I am making a roast. So I'm making a roast chicken today. I'm excited about what it's going to look like. I put some seasoning on it. And yeah, it's a very homely thing to do. Normally on a Sunday, I'd probably eat out. But like now I'm kind of like learning to just eat at home and enjoy the goodness of good home-cooked food. And yeah, so that's good. What else am I going to say? I think that's it, other than, you know what I'm going to say now, don't you? Yep, you got it. God loves you. He loves you. He loves you. He wants to make a difference in your life. And yeah, and he just wants your heart. So give him your heart. There is no better place for your heart to be, I tell you this, than in his hands. So, you know, give him your heart and see how much he loves you. He will pour out his love on you till no end, because that's all he wants to do. Show you how much he loves you and give you so many good gifts. Yeah, he is a gift-giving God. He's a loving God. He's a caring God. And he wants to take you to heights that you've never been before. So yeah, like, you know, let go of the steering wheel and let God take over. So yeah, I'm going to bless you. So God bless you in everything that you do. And yeah, go ahead and go bless somebody else as well. Because you know what? When you bless somebody else, you get blessed yourself. So I'm blessing you so you can be a blessing to somebody else. Have a good evening. Take care. Bye.